President Trump ordered the Smithsonian Institute to do a review of its exhibits ahead of the celebration of our nation's 250th birthday coming up. And the review is going to be done in phases, but it will start with 8 Smithsonians. So why is it important for this to be taking place, to have an accurate understanding of our 200 years of American history? Well, here now to share more about this is the founder and director of Americans for Museums, Stephen Policastro. Stephen, welcome to Washington Watch. It's an honor to have you.
Thank you so much for having me today. Really appreciate it.
Well, you're very welcome, and thank you for coming. So what did you think when the White House announced this re-examination, if you will, of all the Smithsonian museums ahead of the birthday celebration of our country? Why was this necessary?
Yeah, well, since 2016, my team and I have been working to make sure that not only are the museums cataloged appropriately and properly, but also tracking bias that happens within the museums. And within the past few weeks, as you noted, it is very encouraging to see the administration taking further steps to increase the catalog and make known to the American public what is in our museums.
So is there anything in any of the Smithsonian museums right now that you think should be removed first or right away?
Yeah, I think there's several different aspects to this. We can look at arts, we can look at American history, and we can look at natural history. And all three of these domains of knowledge have succumbed, unfortunately, to the pressure over the last half decade of woke agendas and diversity, equity, inclusion being baked into many of the exhibits, a lot of the literature, even online with the websites and some of the videos and virtual presentations that they have available through the Smithsonian Institution.
You probably don't know the answer to this, but I'm certainly curious. Do you have any idea how this movement towards wokeism started? Was it directed from someone in authority, or did it just kind of happen with time, or do you have any idea?
Yeah, within the context of the Smithsonian Institution, there are some pretty clear markers of what happened, how we got to where we are today. And this happened, again, about a half of a decade ago, probably 5 to 7 years ago. Kind of the undercurrents of wokeism, DEI started moving into our cultural institutions and undermining the very foundation of American greatness and what makes our country the place that we all enjoy with freedom and liberty, and having many of the exhibits slowly over time move towards a agenda that pits the institution itself with what we hold dear and value as American citizens.
Are there any Smithsonians that are worse offenders in this realm than others?
Yeah, I think the American Museum of Natural History, the Smithsonian National Museum of American History, and the African American History Museum are all places that we've seen a lot of the DEI woke agenda being pushed, whether that's revisionist history, whether that's bias against certain religious groups, or even pushing alternate lifestyles, such as homosexuality or the pro-choice movement.
Very interesting. Do we know if there's anything else that the Trump administration is requesting from the Smithsonian's right now, besides just kind of making sure that historical displays are accurate?
Yeah, so they're looking primarily, as you noted, at historical displays, while also going through guidelines and standards, looking at how are we getting the displays that we have, not just so that noting which ones should be addressed, but also how do we get here and what changes need to be made so that hopefully we don't end up back here in the future.
Yeah, we certainly hope we don't come back here. So tell me, what is the Smithsonian Advocacy Project, and how do you anticipate the Trump administration will be working with them in the midst of the reexamination of the Smithsonian's?
Yeah, we started the Smithsonian Advocacy Project at the Americans for Museums back in 2016. And just this past year, it has been very intriguing to see the administration's leadership and a lot of the priorities that we have, especially with the catalog that they are beginning to make for the review of the Smithsonian Institution and its museums for the 250th anniversary. We've been working on the Hill in both the U.S. House of Representatives as well as the Senate to codify President Trump's Executive Order 14253. And that has been a really good process because, as we mentioned previously, we cannot just hope that in the next 4 years this will continue with the next president, but we have to make sure it does. And to make sure, we must codify what President Trump has laid out in his agenda for the Smithsonian Institution and other cultural institutions as well, such as the Kennedy Center.
It's a huge project. It's a huge project. And thank you, Stephen Policastro, founder and director of the International Association for Creation, coming on and keeping us up to speed on this. God bless you as you go forward with this huge task.